What's flying pilots? I'm saying endless abilities in this thing. And today we gonna do a short motherfucking video on the intervals of music, right? Because anytime we talk about the intervals of music, you know what I'm saying? All of these intervals, which is 12 in total, are just allegories to the transition of the sun, as we have previously been reminded that this is exactly how they created the piano, and how the piano is nothing but an allegory, an instrument that represents and allegorically expresses through sound the transition of the sun or our body of water, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't feel emotionally connected to a song that was played in the main C major chord that may have the A note in it, the B note, even the G note. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, let's jump straight into this, right? You know what I'm saying? So, we have 12 intervals. We have the minor second, the major second, the minor third, the major third, the perfect fourth, the tritone, the perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh, and then these are the main seven. And then once we get into octave and then minor ninth, that's just getting into subsidiaries of the main seven intervals that you can play on a piano. You know what I'm saying? Based upon how it was made. You know what I'm saying? And all you're looking at this here is this right here. You're just looking at the fourth and the fifth house. That's why they call it a perfect fourth and a perfect fifth, aka where the sun and moon reside. You know what I'm saying? And once we created that space as a spirit, we move on to the next, which is where the sun dies, which is in Mercury. We have the daytime and the nighttime of Mercury. And then the sun gets what? Born in Venus. You know what I'm saying? And then dies in Mars. That's which is where the moon falls, right? And then, excuse me, and then gets born in Jupiter, and then dies in Saturn. And all you're looking at is basically this right here, our body of water. We're the one in the middle, Tiamat, Gaia, Earth, however you want to look at it. Our reflection, the sun that gets born from that, and then the different bodies of water. And shout out to Uriel, you know what I'm saying? Because this is a representation of what Uriel showed us on how to see the seven main chakras, aka bodies of water, right? So let's get into these, right? We talk about these seven intervals. Now, when we get into the octave interval that they like to say, this is nothing but just getting into the subsidiaries of the main seven, just with a different influence, aka a new influence or another event slash body of water within these main subsidiaries, which would be the seven chakras, seven planets, seven principles, seven virtues. And together, all of these equal 12, or the 12 houses of discipline, of when you know each of these transitions. And for all you musicians who are learning music theory, all y'all gonna know all this. But when you know how to use these things, this is how you know the 12 disciples, the 12 disciplines, the 12 houses. So you can be seen as a what? Musician, aka the star, moving through the 12 houses, moving through the 12 houses, knowing how to make music. You know what I'm saying? So that's how the piano is nothing but an instrument that was created based upon the transition of the sun. And each note, it connects you to a certain vowel, aka a certain chakra, aka any music you listen to that's going to have the C note, right? Any music you listen to that's going to have the C note is going to be connecting you to something, or taking you from one area and making 180 degrees transition, aka anytime you emotionally connect to something, that's what the C note is. And you could even hum the C note anytime you play it. It's always gonna, every time you hum it, you're gonna hum the whole sound, or or oh, you know what I'm saying? No matter what octave it's in, is going to connect you to something in some shape or form, which is also how they created a lot of other instruments and things like that. And the reason why emotional music is played in that note most of the time, as well as G, and having A in there as well, because once we get to G, G just connects you to birth or spark, or something new. You know what I'm saying? So that's also how they be using that note in music to give birth to a new emotion of how they want you to feel. You know what I'm saying? And the true musicians who know what they be doing know exactly what this is. And just by you being an artist, you making music, you be in this space, but you don't be using your power to know, you know, that's what you're doing. But I'm here to tell you, as Pearl Pilot, Endless Abilities, Pearl Pilot, that's what you be doing. Okay? So now you know what you be doing. Now you could be a bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And then once we get into the A and the B note, the A and B note are going to be the notes that connect you to the vowels, or the tone of when you as a spirit created your chakras, your minds, of feeling high or vibing. You know what I'm saying? So this will be upholding something, nurturing something in some shape or form. So a lot of hip hop music, or music, or emotional music, or just music in general, that is using the A or B notes from like A major, or A major, A minor, you know what I'm saying? A flat, A sharp, you know what I'm saying? B flat, B sharp, B major, B minor, are all just different ways of pointing you into a direction of feeling high. You know what I'm saying? Like that emotions. Shout out to Maria Carey. You know what I'm saying? You got me feeling emotions deeper than I ever been loved. That shit was played in A and B. You know what I'm saying? And I know this because I did a whole remix on it. Shout out to Maria Carey. You know, stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that whole song was about feeling high, feeling the vibe of something, feeling upholding. You know what I'm saying? Which kind of is Luciferian in a way, if you take that too far and things like that. And the higher you go, the harder you fall. That's why when you listen to too much music in that note, you've experienced on a percentage level throughout the day just as much as you put into that to even go about that experience, which is why you also want to be very mindful of the kind of music you listen to as well, because each one taps you to a certain energy, a certain influence, which is the reason why you don't feel like listening to some motherfucking hip hop music when you in your emotions sometimes. Sometimes you want to play some pianos. Sometimes you want to play some strings. Sometimes you want to, you know what I'm saying, hear some good trombones, you know what I'm saying? Or even the Chinese koto, or I think that was my bad, that the Japanese koto, you know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff. So you be feeling certain ways in a vibe based upon what influence you're getting. And I'm here to tell you, you feel those things for a reason, because we live in a body of water. And everything in this body of water mimics what we do as spirits. So you don't think the piano mimics what you do? Every time you make a transition throughout the day, you wake up, you get yourself together for whatever you got to do in terms of your work, your job, whether your job is for God or not, and you go about your day. You go through a transition, you go through an experience. The piano does the same thing. You listen to someone who knows how to play the piano, even if they don't know it like the way I'm explaining it, they're in a space of just knowing that that's what they do. This is why certain people know how to play the piano better than others, just based upon their own ability and things like that as a spirit. But when you know how the piano was made, you know how they even know how to use that note. Otherwise, in a lot of hip hop music, it wouldn't use the F chord, or the yeah, the F chord or the D chord, which would connect you to the he or heaven below the horizon, or F, U, shout out to Flight Boss, Uriel, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucking star rising on the west and things like that, you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be using those chords if it wasn't below the horizon altogether or dark. You know what I'm saying? Something accumulated, something that has a lot of Pluto energy into it, transformations, you know what I'm saying? Rebirth and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Things that sound cold, like, dang, that beat was cold. Why do you think you said that? You said that for a reason, okay? So, with that being said, we got to keep in mind it's 7 notes. We got G, um, well, I'll start from the middle. C, then we got D, then from D we have A, B, C, D. I was about to say E. Now we don't have E. We have C, D, F, G, A, B. That's 7 chords, and each one taps you to a certain alignment, which connects to a representation of the vowels, which is hey, which would be birth, high, which would be upholding, ho, which would be connection, hu, which would be separation or seeing yourself outside of yourself or distance, and then he, which brings depth to things or draws things down. You know what I'm saying? And each note taps you to either one of these 5 vowels. So when you listen to music, always pay attention to how you feel when you listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Because good musicians know they do what they do for a reason. Star Wars, the person who wrote Star Wars, they knew exactly why they used them notes. You know what I'm saying? Down to the tritones. You know what I'm saying? So I seen some dude try to explain tritones like it has something to do with the devil and something like that. But the sound sounds very de-evolved. So probably didn't know. He knew that's why he was saying it, but that's why he was saying it, because the tritone sounds very muddy. You know what I'm saying? AKA very toxic. AKA when you bring one body water into another area that it doesn't necessarily belong into, but it's still an influence we experience. AKA anytime, you know what I'm saying, Venus is in Aries, you know what I'm saying? Or Mars is in Cancer, you know what I'm saying? Or the sun is in Capricorn, or the moon is in Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? All of it is just literally, all instruments are just allegories off of the stars. You know what I'm saying? All these motherfucking Masons did is just take that and just make it Super Saiyan X plus and things like that. So now you can play a certain note and feel like you're a bear. You could play a certain note and feel like you're a cheetah. You could play the piano real fast and feel like you're Flash. You could play the piano real slow and emotional and feel like you're a whale. It's all allegories off of that. All music is just explaining to you how you go through different transitions. And when we want to keep or make a character from that influence to remind us of the space we previously were in at a time that we're not in that space, we create things like golems, and on our mind, use our minds, practice that ritual mind with the spell and witchcraft body. We actually create an instrument to do so, and we make music to encapsulate that vibe. You know what I'm saying? Which is why you have to go through life experiences to even have impact with your music, because you have to have something to talk about in the first place. But with that being said, I'm Endless Abilities, Pro Pilot here. Stay in tune, because we coming, stay on tune. You know what I'm saying? Because we coming out more with these videos and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to be motherfucking mastic pro pilots in this thing. Shout out to Uriel. Shout out to the Iman Journey. Shout out to MC. Shout out to Dave B. Shout out to Kelsito Zeus. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody doing their motherfucking thing. Because we in this motherfucker, and it ain't easy, but every day's an uphill battle, and it'll never be the right time till you make it the right time. Whew.